Well, hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Creative Culture Podcast. You like that name?
Yeah, I love it, dude.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
This is episode 1 of the Creative Culture Podcast. I am one of your hosts. My name is Spencer Robinette, and I am joined by Mr.
Jaden Moore.
Jaden Moore. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. This is really awesome because yesterday evening, I texted you and I was like, hey, I have an idea, and threw it past you, and you had the same idea, and within less than 24 hours and an hour of setup time, now we have a
Put it
podcast.
together. That's right. Yeah, man. No, I have been thinking about this for a while. We'll dive into exactly what we're doing here in just a second, but I've had this idea for a while, and it was kind of wild that you texted me and said, hey, I have an idea. And I was like, oh wait, I have the same idea. Yeah. So let's make it happen. That's pretty cool.
I've been thinking about it for a couple of weeks as well.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I've always wanted to start a podcast, and didn't really know what to start one about, but I figured this would be an awesome gateway to get content for both of our agencies, and just a fun way to just talk about each other's businesses and see how we can help others and that sort of thing.
Right. So let's dive into it. So I, almost 2 years ago, started a web design firm. I also do work in branding, graphic design, that kind of stuff. And I've been doing web design for a lot longer than 2 years, but officially started the business 2 years ago, which is called Harbor House Creative Co. You can find it on harborhousecreativeco.com. all the socials. I'm even on TikTok, ladies and gentlemen, which is a big deal. So that's what I do. What about you?
Yeah, so about 4 years ago.
4 years ago. Started my business 4 years ago.
4 years ago, I saved up for a camera. This was when YouTube was big. I was young. I wanted to be a YouTuber. And saved up for a camera. I bought a G7X and started recording my friends ride their dirt bikes. And I had a YouTube channel. I got like 70,000 views and 600 subscribers.
Man, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I kind of learned about the filmmaking scene and had a family friend reach out to me and ask if I wanted to shoot a wedding. And at the time, I was like, man, I didn't know that was a thing. So I said yes, and I think I did that for like $400, and did weddings for 2 years. I've recently transitioned into the marketing space about a year ago, and since then, I have been really just enjoying the whole marketing scene, making brand videos, commercials, testimonial videos, those sort of things. So
yeah, a lot of like micro content and stuff.
Yeah, like social media videos.
As a videographer, do you feel like, everybody can shoot video and photo with their phones now, like iPhones and Android have they've made it possible. So that everybody can do it, right? But as a videographer, with all of the thousands of dollars you've invested in equipment, is there still, what's your take on the need for somebody like you to still step into a business and just up their social media content game? I mean, we can talk about brand videos and the big testimonial videos and commercials and stuff that makes sense, but even for just everyday social media content,
and
what's important for people to understand about your role in that?
Yeah, so just like web design, you have Wix, Squarespace, you have all of these platforms that make it very easy to do these things for the average consumer.
Right.
At the end of the day, there's always going to be someone that is more skilled than you at that. With video, you're right. I mean, phones these days can shoot 4K, 60. They can shoot really awesome video just straight out of your phone, which is amazing. Now, there's a little bit more that goes into it than just pressing record and, pointing the camera at someone. There is frame rates, there's lighting, there's color, there is transitions and movements and that sort of thing. And at the end of the day, I would say I don't think videographers will ever be replaced because at the end of the day, you can't really teach. And as a creative, and all of you creatives listening, you can't really teach creativity. Yeah, I have lots of gear and lots of expensive gear, but it all comes down to how you utilize that gear. So even though phones can shoot high quality video, how are you utilizing your phone to shoot high quality video?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. Okay, so unpack. You just said something that I think a lot of people might disagree with. You said you can't teach creativity. Explain that a little bit more. So I think I agree with you and understand what you're saying, but I want to hear what you have to say, and then I'll give my take.
I think God gives people very different talents and skill sets.
Okay.
I think some people, I would say, are more so born to be creators and creatives, where other people may be strategists. Some people may be visionaries. Some people may be that sort of thing. I think you can teach creativity to a certain point, but I think the person that thinks outside of the box and that thinks very uniquely, that I don't think you can teach. So I think you can teach the skills that go into doing a certain thing, like doing a specific trade, such as web design or video. I can teach everyone about all of the technical things about that, but to be able to have a naturally creative mind, I think is very, very important. And I could be wrong.
And it's unique. No.
I may be saying this wrong.
No. I actually don't disagree with you. So, I think this is a great conversation, actually, unintended. So, for my day job, Harbor House is one of the ways that it's my job, right? It's how I make money. I build websites. I do branding work, logo design, graphic design, images, those types of things to make money, right? And it's a creative outlet that I feel like I have been gifted in, to see things a certain way, right? To be able to design things a certain way, to draw an audience or to capture people's attention, right? But I'm also, that's like my day job, but I also, like, another creative outlet for me is songwriting and music and singing. And you could make a strong argument that you can teach songwriting to a degree. You can teach people how to sing to a degree, but there are just some people that cannot sing. Does that make sense?
Right.
So I think that there is, and that's sort of like a very specific example, but I think what I agree with and what you're trying to say is, like, there are creative outlets in which people just aren't gifted in from birth, right? And that just is what it is. I do think, and I don't think this is pushback, but just an addition, I do think like God is a creative being that created heaven and earth and you and I and everything in it. And I think because if you believe this, if you're a person of faith or a Jesus guy like Jaden and I are, like, we are created in his image. And I think everybody has been given the gift of creativity to a certain degree. I think we are creative beings to a certain degree. I think you just have to figure out what your creative niche is.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what I was meaning. I think everyone has different skill sets.
I agree.
Everyone can't be a master of everything, right?
Absolutely.
So And I think that's kind of what I mean by that is like everyone has their own skill that they were
Yeah.
gifted and their own gift. I mean, pretty much exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
You know, I think you can teach creativity and you can learn different skills and learn different things to, just grow your knowledge. But at the end of the day, the person that was gifted with knowing how to draw, I think is always going to know how to draw better than me, even if I practice drawing a lot. And I could be wrong, but that person that was gifted with drawing where I was gifted with, not drawing skills. I could practice and I could practice a lot.
Yeah.
But some people just have that just
absolutely
like from birth. They just know how to draw, and it's this.
Dude, I totally agree. So back to then how we got in this conversation. I think what's important about why videographers, like people who have been gifted with the eye to capture the world via video, why you are still important, even in like the social media game, is because there are, even though an individual who owns and runs a business may have the technology just via their phone to capture video and put content out there, does not mean that they're capturing good content, does not mean they're capturing good video. And they may not even know where to begin. Like you could even just enter the equation with advice of, maybe here's some, because I know you do like in one of your marketing things in ways that even you've helped me, is just like, maybe think about trying to capture this type of video. Maybe, does that make sense? And you can even be a massive help because you see it. You know what to look for. You know how to capture content that's going to be captivating to the audience of that specific business, right?
Right. Yeah. And I think with video, I mean, there's the technical side and there is the storytelling side.
Right.
Video is powerful because of the storytelling side.
Right.
But that's kind of the things that people don't realize. It's kind of just naturally, they just follow along with the story, but they're not sitting there, oh, this story is awesome. More so people are noticing how it looks visually.
Yeah.
What's the lighting like? What's the colors like? That sort of thing. The technical side, I think, I knew nothing about the technical side, so I had to learn all of that, right? I was gifted with kind of like the storytelling side where I knew how to kind of, how to tell a story using these visuals. And I think with web design, you're kind of doing the same thing. You're taking this brand, you're taking this brand story and their personality, and you're kind of just storytelling them through different pages. And
right.
I think a lot of creative outlets, whether that's music, photography, web design, graphic design, video, it is all linked back into storytelling and how you're making a person feel.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I think, I agree. And I think that's, I mean, what captures most people's attention, period, it's what tugs on their heartstrings. Right.
Right. Absolutely.
Like you could look at, a photo of a dog in I don't know, with a bone in its mouth. And it's like, oh, that's a cute photo. And then you could watch a video of a dog like rolling on its side and it like giving you those puppy dog eyes, and you like you want to jump into that video and rub its belly. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like there's just ways, and that's a weird example. I don't know why I thought of that. But there's just ways that you can capture moments and storytell moments that just hit differently. They just do, right? And so it's important, I think, to be able to discern, and if you have the gift or the ability to see those moments differently, you got to lean into that,
right?
So from the web design space, like my goal, as like the leader of Harbor House, right? In my business, sort of my unofficial tagline is that it's my desire to promote what you're passionate about. But in order for me to figure out and to learn what you're passionate about and how to tell that story to the best of my ability as a web designer or as a brand designer or whatever, is to get to know you, is to dive deep into who you are and what makes you tick, and ultimately what tugs on your heartstrings, those things that you're passionate about. It's those things that I ultimately have to figure out how to capture the essence of, put online, that will draw in a very specific audience that you're trying to reach. And so, yeah, it's all storytelling. And I think for me, from the homepage to, whatever, the about page to the services page to the contact page to you're walking people through a story, right? Trying to get them to engage in certain ways. In the web design space, we call them calls to action, right? How can we get a specific audience to engage with your story? And it's based on how you tell it. All right, so I want to put you on the spot for a second. Where did the name Refined Film Co. come from?
Yeah, so I have been through a couple different names with my business. Started off as Jaden Moore Films. Then I didn't think that sounded professional, so then I switched it to Jaden Moore Productions. I hated the fact that my name was in it. It was not scalable. It was very personalized. People always thought they were going to get me, which, I've gotten to the point in my company where I can send someone out if I need to, if I'm not available.
Yeah.
So having more of a versatile, professional, kind of corporate type name. Yeah. I knew that the industry was very off in the sense of people would just show up, record the video, and hand over the final draft and say, there you go.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times clients don't know what to do with the video, right? They just knew they needed a video, so they reached out to a videographer, say, hey, here's my idea.
Yeah.
So kind of where I came up with the name Refined is that I kind of wanted to refine the industry and really just kind of chisel away all of just the bluff and nonsense that the industry has to offer. And this isn't on a higher level. Like when you look at production agencies, you don't really get this. But when you look at a freelance videographer type level, there is so much bluff and garbage. And that's not what I wanted my company to be. I wanted it to be kind of refined into this clean cut. Hey, you reach out to me. I consult you on how to, what video to create. And from there, I will help you distribute it. And that's that. There's not a lot of, hey, I don't know what to do. What do you want me to record? Right. That sort of thing, which is very common, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's good.
So what about you? Your name is awesome, by the way. When I first met Spencer and I just kind of learned about his business, I thought Harbor House was pretty cool. Actually, the first time I met Spencer, it was funny because I was sitting here. I was in a meeting with my accountant, and Spencer walks in. And if you know anything about Spencer, he's a very unique person. He came in with like jeans on, with like Birkenstocks with socks. And he had long hair with like a flannel and a hoodie. If you know anything about Spencer, that's him. He's dying over here because he knows it's true.
Oh my gosh.
And then we got talking. I was showing him this software called Milanote. It's weird that I remember this, but
that's true, Milanote, yeah.
And yeah, we kind of just started talking about his business, and I thought the name was so cool. So how'd you come up with that name?
That's so funny, dude.
Is that right? Is that right, by the way?
I love that. I love that you gave people a very specific description of what I look like. Now, granted, that was a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
How long ago was that? So
yeah.
Now
you still have
see
long
me on
hair.
video now. I've got a buzz cut. And but I'm still definitely just rocking the rolled up jeans and whatever you call these faux Birkenstock clogs.
Some
Whatever.
sort of Air Bethlehems.
There you go. Air Bethlehems. That's exactly what they are. Yeah, dude. So Harbor House. All right. Back in I love all things nautical. I always have. I don't know why. I've always been like, family grew up going to the beach. We were beach vacation people, and so I've just always loved. I love boats. So all things nautical. I always love, and then my wife and I, maybe, I don't know, a few years into our marriage, we took a vacation to Maine and got to see the Maine coast. And that was sort of my first experience with like harbor towns, like little fishing villages and
Not your
not your typical
vacation-y Panama
like
City
Miami,
beach.
exactly.
Yeah.
Not your like beach vacation, right?
Like ocean.
So
bed. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So that was a whole new just exposure to just another cultural element of the ocean, right? The water, whatever. And so I always had the idea of harbor. Like, I just loved that name. I love the word harbor and what it represents, like safety and and then I learned. I was like reading a book. That's probably a lie because I don't read much. I was watching. I don't know what somewhere this term harbor house. I came upon this term harbor house, and basically back in old England, when ships would dock, there would be these houses, and they would call them harbor houses, and basically it's where the crew would spend the night. They'd get a meal, kind of like like a hotel or something like that. Or
Hotel Creative Co.
That's right. That's right. So what? That's not as good. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but they called them harbor houses because it was like again, that idea of safety or rest, or it was a safe space for these crewmen, shipmates to again get a warm meal, have a place to sleep before they hit the open ocean again the next day, or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's dope. I love that. I love the theme, the idea behind that. So then I started moving forward with Harbor House. And so that's kind of so then to sort of transform that, because that has nothing to do with creativity or design. I started thinking, when people that, we've already had the conversation about like, there are people that may not be gifted in the realm of design, marketing, videography, photography, web space, whatever it is. It's often difficult for those people to step into those places that they're unfamiliar with, because it seems so big. It seems so intellectual. It seems so different. It seems so whatever the fear is,
right.
And it's sometimes hard. Like, you don't want to look stupid. You don't want to. So it's hard to ask right questions because you may think they sound dumb, or whatever the case may be. Right. So Harbor House Creative Co. for me was this desire to create a safe space for people to ask whatever questions they feel like they need to ask, for us to have whatever real, authentic conversations we have to have to get to the place where, again, as I mentioned earlier, my goal is to promote what they're passionate about. My goal is to promote what you're passionate about. In order to get to that place, we have to ask the hard questions. We have to ask the dumb questions. We have to have the hard conversations. We have to have the raw conversations. And my goal is to sort of create a safe space to have those conversations where people don't feel, I feel like I'm a pretty approachable person just in general. And that was something I wanted to sort of have be just a part of my DNA and the DNA of our company, that anybody could step foot into a room with us, with me, and have have whatever conversation needed to get us to the end goal of promoting the best versions of themselves and promoting what they're passionate about to the rest of the world, right? So, yeah, I guess that's a long-winded way of getting to Harbor House Creative Co.
That's very cool. That's super unique.
Yeah.
In the sense of, I mean, you could have so many different names, like webdesign.com.
Right.
Just
generic.
super generic
And
names. But this is something that's like actually means something, like deep down past the design portion of it. I mean,
and I think
it goes down to your heart.
Right. And I think we'll get into this conversation probably in later episodes, but when you pick a name that's not, so like when you like Harbor House, I had to add the Creative Co because that at least gives some indication that I do something creative, right? But like without Creative Co, if you just heard Harbor House, you would have zero idea that I did web design and branding work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where, again, marketing becomes that much more important, for a business or for a company that whose name maybe doesn't speak specifically to what they do.
Right.
Does that make sense? And that's probably that probably will be a conversation for another day for us. But I just think, I don't know. I think it's important for us to have these conversations. For me, why I wanted to start this podcast. I know we're all over the place today. For those of you listening, for all three of you, thanks, Mom. Hi, Mom. Listening.
Yeah, we're just we're just testing this out.
But my hope for this podcast is just for you and I to have conversations. Maybe we even bring other people in here and there to have conversations just about the creative culture of our world today, and the importance of it, right? The importance of, listen, we're probably not going to talk about things that hasn't been talked about already a billion times.
Right. And there's so many creative podcasts.
There are so many creative podcasts. So we're not touching something new.
Yeah.
But hopefully we may have some unique takes, at the very least, hopefully interesting conversations.
Yeah.
About what you do, about what I do, and just the hopefully the opportunity to draw just somebody new into the creative space, with slightly intelligent conversation, hopefully.
Yeah, that'll have to be something for the guest.
Yeah, absolutely. But so anyways, we'll see.
Yeah.
I did have, so if we want to try and do this on this first episode, we kind of were, the way we were thinking about splitting segmenting our episodes up was after we kind of had an introduction, just to catch up, hopefully some engaging babble of sorts. Yeah. We would then dive into some sort of specific topic, that we wanted to discuss, again, revolving around the creative space. And then the third segment, sort of as we outro each episode, what maybe bringing something that we saw throughout the week that caught our attention, that we felt like that I just wanted to get your opinion on. So, for example, today,
kind of like I feel like a lot of sermons do that. Like,
yeah,
like the pastor saw something this week, and it.
Absolutely, and then he'll bring it up in his message, right?
Yeah.
So similar to that, like I saw an article this week that was pretty specific, but it's just 5 marketing tips for startups. Mm-hmm. So for those of you out there that either have already started a business or are in the process of starting a business, this was a very specific article, 5 tips marketing tips for startups. And I'm just going to read them to you. I'm going to read these 5 tips to you. And if any of them catch your attention, and you want to share a thought or two, just stop me. So the first one is define your target audience. I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, even as a web designer, like, everybody under the sun needs a website. Every type of business, every industry, right? It's important. The web space has just become incredibly important, and they all need them. But as a local as a small business, as a business owner myself, it was still important, and is still an important discussion and discovery for me, to define my target audience.
Right.
And I think for you, like you were even saying, you started by videoing your friends doing, like, riding motorcycles.
Yeah. Weddings, dirt bikes.
Then you got
everything.
Then you got into the wedding space. The second one is to focus on value proposition. I'm going to read this because I thought this was interesting. Articulate your unique value proposition. What sets your product or service apart from the competition? Communicate this consistently across all marketing materials, platforms to convey a compelling reason why customers should choose your startup. Thought that was good. The third one was content marketing strategy. So develop a content marketing strategy that provides valuable information, insights, or solutions related to your industry. Blog posts, videos, infographics. I think we'll probably, like, a specific conversation I'd love to have with you sometime is the difference between organic marketing
versus paid marketing.
Yeah. That needs to be a good conversation. So check back for that conversation here shortly. Leveraging social media was number 4. And then building relationships.
If you guys can hear the vacuum cleaner.
You know what? This is a raw, honest podcast.
Yeah, and this is our first one.
It's our first one. I'm not even gonna open that door and tell them to stop.
Yeah, we're just testing the water here. Hopefully, we're actually looking for a space where it'll be my studio. It'll be a place where me and Spencer can meet with our clients and work and collaborate. And we plan to have podcast sets where people can come in and record podcasts.
So if you're in the Cincinnati area, be looking for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be awesome. I'm pretty excited about that, even just for our own stuff.
Yeah.
Our own content. So we've
been looking for 6 months and can't find anything.
That's true. Yeah, any of you guys out there in the Cincinnati area, if you have a space, what size are you looking for? Like 500 to 1,500 square feet?
Yeah, something sub 2,000 plus.
Okay.
At least.
Okay.
At least like 500 square feet. 500 to 2,000-ish.
Okay, cool.
Ish.
Enough space where we can have an office, storage of sorts.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so back to that article real quick. The 5 things: define your target audience, focus on value proposition, content marketing strategy, leveraging social media, building relationships, networking primarily. I mean, do any of those stick out as, like, when you started your business, what was important for you?
So I would say there's 2 in there that really, that I could tell all the listeners out there to really focus on. And that is, number 1, finding your target audience.
Yeah.
How are you going to sell a product to someone if you don't even know who you're selling to, you know?
Yeah.
That's like me trying to go and sell marketing videos to newly engaged couples.
Yeah.
After now I've transitioned out of that space.
You're not doing weddings anymore.
Right. I'm not even doing weddings anymore. So what does it do if I'm not, marketing to the right people?
Right.
The third thing, the second thing I'm mentioning, third point Spencer brought up is marketing strategies. And that's something my company does. And so it's a little bit biased, but having an actual marketing strategy where you can strategize things out, where you can plan accordingly to a specific goal is so important because there's no just one general piece of marketing that works for everyone,
Right.
right? I think there's kind of main things that everyone needs, but I think every business is different with very different needs,
Yeah.
with very different goals. So to actually come up with your own strategy and a step-by-step process on how to achieve that start to finish,
Right.
from everything from branding all the way to um, in the video world, what voice you are using
Right.
in the voiceover, to the music you're using,
Right.
everything from there all the way to your distribution platforms such
Yeah.
as Facebook, Instagram, Google, that sort of thing. That is so important to have a step-by-step process. And I'm guilty of it. You know what they say, a plumber's pipe is always leaking.
Yeah.
My marketing strategy myself, I need to improve on.
Yeah.
Yet I help other businesses create their video marketing
Right.
strategies.
Right.
So I think it's very important.
Yeah, I agree with you. I started Harbor House again almost 2 years ago, and it started for me as just a side project, not a project. It was it was a legit side business that I was pursuing, but a lot of it in the beginning stages, because of the capacity that I had to work on it, I was getting enough business just with word of mouth. So networking for me was a big one. Building relationships, that was a big one for me out the gate. And I had enough business coming in with the capacity that I had with just word of mouth. And now that I'm starting to pursue it more and more, marketing, like creating a marketing strategy has become vital, right? And so that's definitely, yeah, I agree with you. That's huge. And if you're working on a startup, you've probably heard this advice already, but make sure you are pursuing some sort of marketing strategy. I think it'll be good. I do want to have this discussion with you, the difference between organic marketing and paid marketing, because there's stuff that everybody should be doing, even before you have the money to invest into paid marketing. And it's, and you need to be engaged in it.
Yeah. And kind of circling back on that point that you just made real quick. I also had a ton of word of mouth business. That was kind of my primary, especially in weddings, that was my primary source of marketing, primary lead generation method.
Right.
But I think that gets to a point where that's very unreliable, because once those people that stop referring you, there's nothing you can really do about that.
Right.
And it's kind of just like one of those things that you're just hoping for. So having something that's a little bit more robust, that is actually more data driven instead of more hope driven, is very important.
Good. Yeah, it's good. Well, any final thoughts? Let's conclude episode 1 of the Creative Culture Podcast. Any final thoughts from you?
I don't think so. I mean, like I previously mentioned, this is kind of a new thing for me, kind of just learning. So
yeah,
hopefully in the future we have, you may see a different set behind us. You may see a different environment.
Yeah.
Something like that. We're kind of just testing the waters right now. So
that's it. That's what it's about. Just go. I posted something on Harbor House's Facebook, or all of my social media, Instagram. I'm old enough that like Facebook still matters for my context. But I posted something.
Matters for everyone.
I know, but like a lot of people are like, oh, just old people on Facebook now. It's like Instagram, TikTok are the two primary social media platforms, which is probably true. But Facebook, depending on your target audience, can still be heavily prevalent. But what I was getting at was I posted something on Saturday, and it just says, take a deep breath and start. you know, and I think for us, like, that's what we're doing here, you know, just trying something new, trying to get out of our comfort zone a little bit and create content, put things out there that hopefully make a difference, hopefully may help somebody. And if you have any questions, thoughts, make sure you hit both Jaden and I up on our social media, whether that's Instagram, Refined Film Co., Harbor House Creative Co. You can go to our websites and there's contact pages. You can send us messages, whatever.
Also, if you're a company like Cane's, Chipotle, or Chick-fil-A,
and you want to sponsor,
yeah, go ahead. We would be happy to promote you to our parents who are listening, to our close ones.
I don't even know if my wife will listen to this.
Yeah, I really don't know if anyone I know will be listening to this.
Oh, shoot. No, man, but you're totally right. But yeah, if you have any questions, if you're listening on Spotify, they have a place now where you can just ask questions and let us know what you want to know. What do you want us to talk about? And we'll try and make that an important part of each episode. But yeah, this is something new. We're taking a deep breath and we're starting, making it happen.
Just start.
Sound good?
Which that'll be a good next episode, talking about a book that I haven't read, but I've heard about.
Oh, okay. I haven't read it yet either. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that book that I probably won't read.
All right. That'll be in the next episode.
I listened. Okay, wait. Last thought. Does it count? Does listening, like audiobooks, does that count as reading?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm really glad you said that.
Because when I read, I'm 3 pages through the book, and I don't remember a single thing that it said because I zone out. But when I listen,
you remember.
Yeah, exactly.
I do too.
Like when I'm driving and I'm I take in information way better.
I do too.
So let us know your thoughts. What are your guys' opinion?
Yeah, there you go. Is our audiobooks real books? Is listening to an audiobook, does it really count as reading that book? I would argue yes. All right, y'all. Jaden, it was a pleasure. Talk to you next time.
All right.
See you now. Bye.